Good morning.
Good morning.
We're just waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Linda. We're just waiting on one of our committee members to join us. So thank you for your patience.
No.
Hi.
So for those with us via Zoom, we're still waiting on one director to be able to have a quorum. We're understanding about 10 or 15 minutes. And so we apologize for the lateness of the start, but would appreciate patience with continuing if we can, versus having to reschedule the meeting. So
No worries. We're just doing work on the side. So
always important stuff to do, even though we're waiting. So thank you.
And Chris, I apologize. I'm having to take the call from inside the Capitol, and as you can hear, it's pretty noisy. But if you guys don't mind, it's the quietest place I could find. We're in full committee swing this week.
Pretty busy, I'm sure. Well, hopefully you can join us when we start, but we certainly understand.
We are ready. Everyone, we have a
Not yet.
forum and we will
This Friday.
begin.
Yeah, everything's okay.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 10:45. Here. Motion for the approval of the agenda,
So moved.
second. Item B, meeting minutes. Any questions and, no, he did not participate. Is he able to still approve them?
I think he should abstain, right? If he wasn't, I guess he
Well,
can still.
I think
can
you
make
can
the
review
motion,
and
right?
Make the motion.
Yeah,
Right,
so I'll move to approve minutes.
I
okay.
need a second. All in favor, say.
Oh.
I second.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
You'll say aye and then I'll abstain.
Mhm. Good.
Yes.
Item D, public comments. At this time, comments from the audience may be made on items not listed in the agenda that are of public interest and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the district. The committee has a policy of limiting speakers to no more than 3 minutes. The committee cannot take action on items not listed in the agenda. Public input may be offered on agenda item when it comes up for discussion and or action. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
Thank you.
She is, she's here.
Item E, old business, SB 588 by Senator Ochoa Bowles, Health Facilities Freestanding Emergency Center Study. We have the fact sheet, a letter of support, and we can go ahead and get an update either from Tish or Chris, and then we can go ahead and open up for discussion.
Tisha, are you available or did you have to step away?
No, I'm available.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
happy to walk through an update.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the good news is SB 588 has been set for a hearing in Senate Health on April 23rd at 1:30 p.m. We will be on site, at DHCD. I will be there to provide you too. What we will need to do is solidify and confirm 2 primary witnesses. They will get 2 minutes to speak each. I believe we would prefer to have a provider available to speak. And then I believe the second witness is going to be Sarah or Kathy from ACHD. We anticipate the bill going through another set of amendments. We will need to amend the bill to actually define freestanding emergency department because that phrase and definition does not exist currently in state law. As Chris mentioned, or I'm sorry, as we mentioned, we have submitted letters of support. We have been helpful to help craft the background information sheet for the committee. And in conjunction, in addition to the bill, Senator Ochoa Bowles has also authored and submitted a budget request letter to coincide with the policy bill that would provide $1 million in funding in order for HPI to carry out the study. So those items have been done. We are now working towards, again, confirming our primary witness, and then also building support with other stakeholders. I know CHA, we're going to be having conversations with them, and then looking for any, Sarah and I at ACHD will be working together to identify other third-party supporters. And then if, curious if there are any local folks or other organizations that you guys work with that might also be willing to identify or, submit a letter of support. I think Chris, you had mentioned Eisenhower potentially. But that's just a quick snapshot of where we are currently.
Thank you. Fred, do you have any questions?
Yeah. What's the activity as far as an assembly sponsor that goes through the Senate?
Like a jockey, like we have a,
Yeah,
I don't think we've been that.
We don't have to worry about that until we get to the assembly floor.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's just a formality.
okay.
Along that, do we, have we heard back from Senator Padillas' office, potentially?
No, we haven't. We've checked in multiple times. Ahead of the hearing, I've got another meeting request in to meet with the senator because I've been working through staff up until this point. But we've got a meeting request in, as well as I've got meeting requests in to every member of the Senate Health Committee to meet and walk them through the bill and get their commitment to support in committee as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, I noticed that, Senator Padilla sits on that committee as well. Super important.
Yes.
And, I'm not sure if you're mentioning to his office that it's a district that, it's a bill that originated within his district. I'm not sure if you've mentioned that, and hopefully that.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I have. I'm also trying to be sensitive to the fact that we did not approach them initially. And so, I'm not sure why we didn't when this bill, but I think by the time that I had heard about it, it had already been vetted with Senator Ochoa Bogues. So I just want to walk that fine line between getting his support now and, they haven't mentioned that, but I suspect that's one of the questions that they have. So hopefully we'll be able to get in front of them and walk through that. But any information you guys could provide as to why we didn't also go to him, or maybe you did, but it would be helpful to know.
he didn't, it was a board member, that had gone to, open house with the senator at the senator's office, and she just took it upon herself to get this started. And that's how.
Okay.
And I did mention to her that actually, that she's not within our district, or where initially it was the pilot program, within the eastern parts of our district. So I did mention to her, but it didn't happen, and I'm hoping that we could, get in to see, Senator Padilla and his.
And I'll reach out to his staff person that at his open house that he had 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that would be helpful, Chris.
Subject with.
Yeah.
There, he did nod and express some interest and to stay in communication with them. So I'll reach out to his staff person on that.
Thank you.
And
Thank
then,
you. That's helpful.
Also regarding where you mentioned as one of the witnesses or providing testimony, would be helpful to have a provider. Dr. Kumar, would you be open to testifying on behalf of
Yeah.
Bill?
No, 100%. Yeah, no, I didn't mean no. No, I'm actually already kind of studying this because I think Carol, reached out and like a couple of days ago. So yesterday I pulled out a case study from Texas, where I'm doing what I can, so we have a freestanding ER from Desert that Michelle Finney was able to give me some documents like a couple of months ago. So I'm going to go through all of them. But I think it'll be helpful if I can maybe find a day when I can sit with Carol and maybe one more person and just kind of prepare for it.
Yeah, I think Dr. Kumar, I'm happy to help with that too. I've got a ton of information that I can send to you. Also that you can take a look at before a meeting, but anything that we can do to be helpful, we'll want to, again, keep those comments to 2 minutes. And you'll want to speak because this is a statewide ask, even though it is generated from a district perspective, we're going to want to focus it as a benefit to the state as a whole. And so Sarah from ACHD and I are happy to meet with you, doctor, and just walk through all of that and help prepare you and also take a look at your draft of your comments and adjust as we think would be most beneficial. But obviously defer to your expertise here. And I think that you would be the perfect person to provide the primary testimony.
And what it makes it to be in person versus virtual,
So
or?
it is.
No, it's in person only.
Yeah, no.
Over here in Sacramento.
It's better to be in person because then we can kind of maybe even after the meeting kind of influence.
Do
I don't
that.
know if it's possible or not, but
Maybe he could actually visit Padilla's office.
So,
Yeah.
Doctor, you would be traveling to Sacramento. And you'd have to be there for committee 1:30, and then it goes by super fast. Unless they have a lot of questions, and then it'd be lengthy. We don't get questions ahead of time, but then, of course, you wouldn't necessarily be responsible for answering all questions, but
Yeah,
some
and
questions for you.
it's important too, doctor, to know that depending on where we fall on the agenda, it could be an all-day thing. So while our bill discussion would be quick, it's likely that just depending on where we fall and which members are available, what time the senator arrives to present, it could be an all afternoon thing. And if you come early enough on that day, we could also do drop-bys ahead of the hearing time, because the hearing doesn't start until 1:30. But you and I could go around and meet with members before in the morning. So just depending on what time you arrive.
Thank you. I do have.
You're muted, doctor.
Is he
I
speaking to
don't think
us?
he's talking noise.
Oh.
sorry. I was gonna say I'm off that whole week, so that works out really well.
Perfect.
No babies or no.
I'm planning to get there maybe 22nd in the evening, so just in case you want to
Okay,
fatten me up.
perfect.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
perfect.
And then we can prepare in the morning and be available as needed. The other thing I was going to say was I can reach out to, I know a couple of CMOs. I can reach out to some of the local hospitals here, like I can't say this name, St. Georginio or Jorginho. Anyways,
Oh,
so this,
Gorgonia.
yeah. So I think they were wanting some help. I can reach out to Redlands just because I think it's a statewide thing, so we can get some letters from them as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
If,
Yeah.
that's sure, you, are letter of support template, in the,
Yeah,
fact sheet.
so if you
So-
need
Yeah.
that, we'll send that to you.
Yeah.
You,
Okay. Awesome.
I think we should reach out to as many stakeholders we believe would be interested in supporting this. All right, Tish, can we request a copy of the budget request letter? Senator Ochoa, both office?
I think Chris may have it, but let me re-up that here.
Okay,
I'll send you the final.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
One second. Okay. Do we have a list of those that have submitted letters of support? I've heard of some, but do we have a full list?
All I know of right now is us and Desert Care Network. I
Yeah,
reached out to Marty Masiello at Eisenhower. He said that they would do it as long as they could run the Fed. But I told him that
I mean, that's not up to us, right?
Exactly.
They're jumping ahead, they're jumping ahead.
I told him, I says, there's opportunities, but that hasn't been defined yet. So any support you can provide would be appreciated. So.
yeah, and I know Sarah's working on drafting the letter of support from NCHD. So we'll have let me take a look at the official date. So the bill is up on the 23rd, which means we will have to have all letters in by the 15th at 5 p.m. Otherwise, you can submit them leading up to the hearing, but in order to guarantee we have made the analysis, they need to be in by the 15th.
Thank you. Chris, who have you sent the request to for support?
Those are the ones that I've
Oh, you haven't sent it out to?
not
anyone?
additional one. We have done like e-blasts, and also
Okay.
we've published, press release with
Mhm.
information. So we've been reaching out to our general population.
Okay, can you do,
And we've
mention a few-
given the link. So we don't really know if people are applying through
we
the
can ask the senator's
portal.
office, we can ask to see if
How
there's
can we
any
find that
there.
Well, in talking with Alicia, she usually will notify me immediately because she gets a notification once the letters have been submitted to the portal. But Chris, and whoever you guys talk to, please feel free to give them my email address and I can do the submission. And that way we're tracking also to make sure that they've done it, that there's no room for error there.
And I know that the fact sheet also has your contact information, so that's good to.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Chris, so we can send it out to neighboring healthcare districts, so Palo Verde. The new healthcare district in Imperial County, Imperial Valley Healthcare District, Morongo. It wouldn't hurt to send it to the county.
I can
Sorry,
take care of,
Manuel.
I can take care of the county.
Okay.
What about DP and Intercare?
Yes,
I can actually take care of both of those too.
all right. You have the template and.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Maybe RUHS, Loma Linda.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
because
okay.
I
You
can do
mentioned
data
Loma Linda.
directly and.
Loma Linda.
Yeah, yeah, that's
If you
good.
want to, Chris, and then. you
Hey,
wanna,
Tish, is
like,
there a certain
follow up
number that
as
you
well?
have to have
Yeah,
or
Chris,
it
if
doesn't
you-
matter?
If you want to do it.
It doesn't matter. I think we don't anticipate much, if any, opposition, but it's always good to go into committee with a strong showing.
I can-
How about any opposition on, I mean, it wouldn't be necessarily vetted through this committee, but on the amount, the cost, I know that there's.
Yeah,
Jason,
We send
uh-huh,
the template.
request.
I think, yeah, that's so I will forward that to you guys now, the final, but I think we also need to submit a letter of support for the budget ask. And then I will also need to start meeting with the budget committee members to share that letter and information and push for support on that side.
Which budget committee is it?
It would. So right now it's going to health committee.
Yeah, but when it goes. to
The budget, it would be the Senate Budget Committee and I believe sub 2. But I don't quote me on that. I'll have to double check.
Okay. Alrighty. Anything else that you believe that you need from us, Tish, on the definition in other language for the bill?
I think that's it. We've approved the FED definition. We'll see if any other stakeholders approach the committee or the author's office for any other amendments. But as of right now, I think we're good to go.
Sounds good. Any other questions from committee members? Stop. Who would be against it? Well, Tish mentioned that in the
union?
past, union labor was against it and
And
in some
CHA.
hospitals.
California Hospital Association.
Have we heard?
Well, the hospitals, the version that they've all been opposed to in the past is just the immediate creation of an FED. This is a study. And so what I anticipate is maybe CHA coming to the table and asking for, maybe certain components to be added to the studies. I don't know whether this rises to the level of SCIU jumping in with a position here, but I think we should be ready to anticipate any and all of that. But I think this is something that most people will want to have because the topic of establishing an FED is not ever going to go away.
And if we could connect with labor and find out if there's anything that they would like to maybe see added on any concerns of them, maybe the study should include something also related to like staffing, which I don't think I see it on here. I know that's always a concern, staffing ratios and all that.
Yeah, I think we have to have some guardrails there, and fortunately, we have an author that would be helpful. So, but we will for sure reach out.
Good. Thank
And I
you.
apologize, I have to jump. I have to run into a meeting now with a member, but I am available. Chris knows how to get a hold of me, and I'll be in regular contact with Chris too as things develop.
All right. Thank you, Tish.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tish.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I had a few. Number one is, are we going to have any issues with if Senator Padilla is not going to get on board? Is that going to create a problem?
So the issue there is if he doesn't support the bill, even during the committee, if he doesn't support it, that's just another vote against it. And so
Okay.
what can happen is if the bill doesn't get enough votes, then it dies on committee.
Yeah.
It can't continue going through the legislative cycle.
Isn't it in his area?
I wouldn't.
I met with him 2 weeks ago. It was on housing and stuff, but we had talked about the healthcare issues. I just don't anticipate he would be against it at all,
Either.
especially because he represents almost the entire district is rural.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another thing is like I think maybe a little bit of preparation in terms of opposition. So staffing, I had a discussion with Carol like in detail, and I have a plan for that, like in terms of how to staff it with Desert JFK being in there because I've done that before with the
Let me, to clarify, so within this, we need to be very like generic. We're not gonna be necessarily talking on the staffing support from local hospitals. What we're trying to do is, we're asking the state to conduct a study to let us know how this would work across, the state of California. And so let's think about those things, right? I like that we're thinking local because we're hoping that in the future that's gonna be like a future problem, a future issue. But it's also think about how this is gonna be incorporated like statewide. And so, within your remarks or testimony, focus on that, like, hey, within the state, and there could be some examples within like our area, but
yeah.
let's point is convincing the state that we need to have this study because in the future it's gonna help many other rural areas such as ours. And we have been seeing, issues with hospitals and healthcare. So I think that this would be a very great idea for our district and then other areas, such as Imperial County. Okay. Do you have another question?
How about like EMS support better? Because I know that in the past they've used EMS opposition sometimes to derail some of the programs.
So definitely, I would say that anyone that can, is willing to support, that they should submit a letter of support.
Because my thought process is like when people are going to, I think the two major questions that may cause opposition in the Senate would be like whatever they can like look up really fast and be like, okay, these are the reasons why these two closed. So I think if we close those doors like in the beginning, then it'll be like, okay, they have thought of this, So maybe something to think about.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from staff here in the room?
No.
No? Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the next item. Committee members?
Sorry for
Carmen?
being late.
No, you're good. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 11:08. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mark.
Bye, Linda. Have a great day, everyone.
So see you at the next committee meeting.
Oh, there was Carol.
Oh,
Did she call from Europe?
Carol, we've adjourned the meeting, but oops. Is there anything you want to say?
maybe not.
Okay.
Carol, are you with us?
Link, so, say again?
We can't hear you.
I'm frozen.
You don't sound like Carol.
Thank you for
It's because everything's in bloom in Rome and I have an allergy.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
First world
Did,
problems.
did you catch any of the meeting? We just adjourned, so I don't know if you caught any of it or not.
It's fine. I was able to catch the tail end.
Okay. You have any questions or?
No, it sounds like you guys are on a roll.
Okay.
Alright.
All right.
Bye.
Hope you're having a good time. Hope the allergies came down.
Good old Zyrtec will work.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Carol.